I'm honored to introduce the Honorable Ahmed Hussen, Minister of Housing, Diversity and Inclusion. The Honorable Minister was first elected in 2015 to represent the riding of York Southwestern. He previously served as the Minister of Families, Children and Social Development and Minister of Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship. Serving as National President for the Canadian Somali Congress, Minister Hussen worked with national and regional authorities to advocate on important issues to Canadians of Somali heritage, strengthen their civic engagement and integration. His results-driven approach led to an invitation from the Toronto City Summit Alliance to join a task force of modernizing security and income for adults, which is one of the key drivers of diversity and inclusion. Minister Hussen, we are honored to have you. Thank you for joining us today, sir.
It is indeed my honor to join all of you as we mark this solemn occasion commemorating.
You're unable to hear, Minister.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, we're good.
Okay, it's indeed an honor for me to join you in this important commemoration of January 29th, which our government designated as the Day of Remembrance and Action against Islamophobia and all forms of religious hatred. I want to acknowledge that I'm joining all of you from traditional indigenous territory of many nations from the city of Toronto, including the Wendat, the Anishinaabe, and the Haudenosaunee peoples, and the Mississaugas of the Credit. I am very pleased to see my honorable colleagues, beginning with Minister Harjit Sajjan, who has been really a tireless champion for the fight against racism, hatred, and discrimination, and a really strong advocate for the rights of religious minorities to worship freely in Canada. And I found Harj to be a strong leader when it comes to really standing up for those principles, both in his previous role as Minister of National Defense and now in his current role as Minister of International Development and as a Member of Parliament for Vancouver South. In addition to that, we have Talib Nur Mohammed and Parm Baines, again, two of my amazing colleagues from British Columbia who have always stood up for the principles that we are commemorating here. And, you know, we are in very difficult times, but make no mistake, all of us in the government from British Columbia and many other parts of the country, we are very much committed to the fight against racism, discrimination, and hatred. We are moving forward to make sure that we fight every single day to make sure that each and every Canadian is safe in their community, that each and every Canadian is safe in their places of worship and community centers. And, you know, we're doing everything that we can, including moving forward on getting this right by listening to the communities that are impacted by this hatred, that are impacted by hate-motivated violence and terror. And that includes, for example, the announcement that the government made yesterday, and I made on behalf of the government to move forward on the commitment that we made to Muslim Canadians in the National Summit on Islamophobia, recommendation number 19, to appoint a special representative to combat Islamophobia, provide that individual with the proper framework and resourcing to do that really important work from inside government and also outside government. We're moving forward to reintroduce legislation after immense consultations on the online harms issue that the community had obviously expressed concern about, the importance of holding social media platforms accountable. We are moving forward to create a separate victims of hate violence support fund so that folks can be reimbursed and be helped by resourcing them with uninsured costs that result from hate-motivated violence, things like physiotherapy and other supports that people have to pay for out of pocket. We're standing shoulder to shoulder to those victims, and while we also, of course, move forward to reintroduce Bill C-36, which will introduce amendments to strengthen to strengthen the protections of victims against hate speech, hate propaganda, and violence and hatred. And moving forward to take and incorporate the recent decisions of the Supreme Court of Canada that has done a good job at redefining hatred and introducing the term hatred into the criminal code, and making sure that we introduce other measures like a peace bond, so that when there is a reasonable apprehension of fear that someone or a group of people will engage in hate-filled propaganda or hate speech or hate-motivated violence, that an individual can seek from the justice system the imposition of a peace bond, whose condition will be that that person cease and desist those activities, and if they breach that peace bond in the future, that they'll face severe consequences of the law. All these changes and the amendments contained in Bill C-36 will help the police and prosecutors to better define hatred, to better define hate speech and hate propaganda, and to put better processes, easier processes for victims of hate, violence, and hatred, and hateful propaganda. This is a very solemn day for Muslim Canadians from coast to coast to coast. I know that Islamophobia did not begin with that shooting in the Quebec mosque, and it will not end with our commemoration and our efforts. But of course, it shows that there's more work to be done, and it's not. Of course, government will play a big role, but it is up to all of us to tackle Islamophobia, to tackle all forms of hatred. A few nights ago, I was with members of the Jewish community and other allies in commemorating the International Day of Holocaust Remembrance at the National Holocaust Monument. And we heard there as well the same concerns around tightening and strengthening, the laws against hate speech, against hate-motivated violence, better protection for victims, more action to tackle online hate and harmful content. And so we share this in common with many other racialized and religious minorities in Canada who are facing this rise of intolerance and hate. And we come together, as evidenced by this room, by people from all walks of life and all corners of the country, to say, not in our name, and we recommit every single day to fighting this hatred, and to make sure that each and every Canadian, as I said in the beginning, feels safe and secure in their communities. Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
Merci, Minister Hussen. Again, the specific work on preventative as well as supportive measures that yourself and the government are taking are really what I think building awareness about is part of what we're trying to do here. There is a lot of great work being done. And as you said, the shared experiences of Canadians, whether it's Jewish Canadians, Black Canadians, Asian Canadians, Muslim Canadians, regarding the spread of hate and discrimination is one that actually will unite us in defeating it. So thank you again for sharing your voice with us today.